Hello everybody, it's August the 9th, 2014. Today I'd like to talk about a subject that one of my students brought up in a lesson the other day. As he's leaving for college, I asked him, as I do most of my students who are leaving for college and going on to study somewhere else, if there's anything they'd like to cover before they leave. So my student brought up an interesting subject. That is to say, he would like to learn how to play more consistently. And I thought that was a great subject. So we're going to talk about that today. Of course, as a musician and as a trumpet player, we are expected to play perfectly. Of course, we can't play perfectly. So one of the first things we have to do is accept the fact that that's not going to happen. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. We all go through a period where we think we're going to play perfectly, and then when we don't, especially on a performance, it's really hard to take, and it's hard to get over that. Well, I don't know if I've ever gotten over it completely, but it is something that you have to recognize that comes with the territory. If we quit after playing something incorrectly, well, I usually would tell people when I make a mistake, I say, well, it's not the first one, and I hope it's not the last one. Well, getting on to the subject at hand, playing consistently. Of course, practice consistently. The thing that I came up with that I thought might be interesting is that in order to play consistently, one of the things you have to be able to do is to be able to play in tune. The connection there is that if you're not playing in tune, your chops have to work much harder than if you are playing in tune. If you're playing one note flat one day, one note sharp the next day, and you go from that interval, say from a C to a G, your chops really don't have a chance to work at the highest level. They're guessing. Okay, am I high today? Am I supposed to get the pitch when I go to the G in a different place than it was yesterday? So you want to be able to not only play accurately, you also want to have the pitch be as accurate as possible. And that helps a great deal when it comes to consistent playing. So think about intonation perhaps today a little bit more than you did yesterday as a factor in helping you to play more consistently at a higher level. Of course, you want to be able to play such that you make as few mistakes as possible. Claude Gordon had a little exercise whereby you would take 4 coins and put the 4 coins on the left side of the stand, and each time you played the passage correctly, you would move one of the coins over to the other side of the stand. And once you had 4 coins to the other side, then that was an indication that you could play that passage at a good level. But what I like to do sometimes is put a coin over when I played correctly, but when I played it incorrectly, I'd move the coin back to the other side. So that meant I had to play it correctly 4 times in a row in order to move on to the next passage. These are just some ideas on how to play consistently at a high level. And of course, there are going to be times when you just want to practice your sight reading, when you're not going for that same kind of accuracy. So there are times when you do make a mistake, then you won't want to go back and fix it when you're practicing your reading, as I mentioned before. And I think if you think about these few things that we've talked about today, they will help your consistency. They will help you to play more accurately more often. And I wish you all the best. I wish you accurate trumpet playing. And of course, as I mentioned before, if you miss a note, as a friend of mine said when he was playing at the Music Center here in Los Angeles and he missed a note, came in early, I think. We looked over him after the performance and he says, well, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. And I thought that was a pretty healthy approach because he's a great player and he plays correctly more often than not. Well, do the best you can, be the best person you can be, and you'll have a great life, especially if you spend some time with your trumpet. As much as you love the instrument, you know that time spent with the trumpet is not wasted time. Another friend of mine said, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. So all the time I've spent with this trumpet here today, and all the other days that I spent with it, has been enjoyable and certainly not wasted. And I wish the same for you. Take care. Bye-bye.